Hello friends, welcome back. And if you're new here, thank you very much for stopping by. So let's get into another video on It's Just Me in a Bus. Today I want to talk about new buses versus old buses and the dreaded Maxxforce 7 engine and all the computers. And that pertains to all newer buses that have emissions integrated into them, DPF, EGR, things of that nature. So I want to talk about, obviously the pros and the cons, but I want to talk about my experience and what I've learned and the knowledge I've gained regarding specifically the Maxxforce 7 engine that is one of the most feared engines on the internet. So it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because we all want a new bus, I think, but we don't want what comes along with owning a new bus necessarily. So we're left with little option but to get an old bus. And an old bus comes with old parts, and it's an old bus. Everything's old. The axles are old. All the rivets are old. All the wiring is old. All the airlines are old. All the pumps are old. All the seals are old. Everything about it is old. And it can be for example, it's taken me 2 years just to service this bus I purchased from beginning to end, which would have been what, a $20,000+ service, 25 with tires at a truck shop. It's no joke bringing a bus up to snuff just from a maintenance perspective, much less refurbishing a bus, right? Everything from wheel bearings to brake linings to shocks to potential rust issues. So there's a lot of compelling reasons to get a new bus, isn't there? Unfortunately, though, with new buses, they come with emissions. And the emissions, especially early on, 2010, 2011, and newer, what I'm trying to say is they've gotten better at emissions, but there's still a problem. But the era the new buses that are available are probably, 2010 to 2015 or 16 or 17, and that is kind of the trouble years. That's how I would look at it. Other benefits to having a new bus is things like cruise control. I don't think I could really drive my bus without cruise control. I just connected the Navistar computer up to the bus and turned it on and turned off the speed limiters and made a number of adjustments so that my bus would be like driving a regular car. So there's a lot to be said for a newer buses with all the new parts and everything. It's just the dreaded emissions. And then there's also the overwhelming concern about all the computers and the diagnostics and being beholden to a shop to repair even a simple issue with your bus, basically being helpless. Well, I'm here to tell you that doesn't have to be the case at all. Zip zero. And even though the software is tens of thousands of dollars, there's options available to us with software that are very affordable and can give us full dealership access of our older buses. Being older, I mean, my bus, for example, is a 2011. So I think I can make a clear distinction regarding buying an old bus versus buying a new bus that may be required being deleted, reprogrammed, and an investment in diagnostic software and laptops and modems um, versus an old bus. In my mind, it gets really simple. If you're going to buy a school bus to convert, to build, to create a home or an RV or whatever, then and you can't work on it yourself, and I mean pretty much work on any aspect of it, from doing a motor tear down to diagnosing electrical to figuring out fuel injection to servicing it to repairing the brakes to replacing wheel bearings, then I'm not sure that even buying a school bus is a wise decision, because school buses, in order to turn them into a home, to build them, require tremendous effort. And then if you have the extreme expense of paying someone to fix your bus, to get it roadworthy, to make improvements, to freshen things up, to do whatever's required, does it make sense versus just buying an RV that is maybe less likely to need as much and be more cost effective in the long run? So I'm not so sure it matters whether you buy an old bus or a new bus. I think it matters if you are able to work on it, if you're able to diagnose it, if you're able to learn about it, if you're able to get the equipment that you need to service it, to get all the tooling, to be able to be self-sufficient as much as possible. If you can't do that with a school bus, or if you're going to become a nomad with an RV, if you can't do that, I'm not sure it's ever going to make sense in the long run. So if you had your choice and you were mechanically able to learn and had the ability to acquire the minimum to be able to take care of your bus, then why wouldn't you buy a new bus that gets 16, 15, 16 miles to the gallon versus an old bus which guaranteed to get you 5 or 6, at the most 7, going downhill? So just the cost of fuel alone, when you look at if you're actually going to drive your school bus somewhere, if you look at the cost of fuel alone compared to a new bus, my bus never gets less than 13 miles to the gallon. Let me say this about the Maxxforce 7 in general. It is, from a mechanic standpoint, and from a tuner standpoint, and from guys that build huge diesel engines and have fun, there isn't a better engine. It is a phenomenal engine, and it can be built to produce incredible horsepower. It has a B50 lifespan. That's 500,000 mile lifespan, and it can absolutely reach that. But unfortunately, with the emissions, with the EGR, with the regen, with the DPF, it unfortunately cannot reach those miles. So unless it is tuned properly, and those emissions pieces defeated, which is illegal, then you can't get that B50 motor, that motor that is extremely reliable, smooth, and has incredible gas mileage. In order for it to be viable for me to own this 2011 Navistar International Maxxforce 7 with the Allison 2500 6-speed transmission, I needed to make a significant investment in tooling. And that is a dedicated laptop, a solid state, so you're not dealing with flimsy hard drives. Invest in all the dealership Navistar diagnostics, NED, all of the different software packages that are required to manage all of the 5 different computers. I invested in and purchased the service repair manuals, the diagnostic manuals, the wiring harness manuals. Just the cable and modem to connect to the J1939 is around $800. So that's a pretty decent investment just in the cable that allows you to connect a laptop to the bus. Then, of course, you've got to school yourself on how to use the software correctly. But once you have that, you have total control over your body controller, your ABS brakes, your all of the bells and whistles. I can image the ECU. I can replace the ECU with another one and re-image that ECU. I have total control. I can make controls on the dash do completely different things than they were intended to do. You have control over the entire CAN system and the body controller computer. So once you have that, and then you have a decent onboard air compressor, you have the ability to jack the bus up, you have the big, huge, 1 inch or 3/4 inch impact drivers to remove lug nuts, you have tire repair kits, you have all of those things. You put your whole toolbox together, you have all of that. You're well on your way to being self-sufficient on the road and being able to repair your bus very, very inexpensively and have something that's sustainable, versus your first stop at the first shop costs you $25,000 and depletes you or racks up your credit cards, maxes you out, and you're destined for failure. So in the back of the bus, I have big, huge bus jack stands and jack, hydraulic, pneumatic operated jacks. And this toolbox here is designated just for the school bus. So it has tire stuff, tire temperature, pressure, brake adjust tools, level. Not sure. Oh, those are for airline, brake lines, things like that. And then in here's big DeWalt airline socket for the lug nuts. And here's a laptop for the diagnostics, electrical diagnostics, amp draw gauge, things of that nature. And then you've got more drills, and then in here is the modem and cabling for the computer connection. And then in here you've got electrical connection, tire repair, big extensions, spare fuses, spare relays. These are for taking off the chrome hubcaps, all that. So all that is just what's required just to do some really basic stuff. And then, of course, I have roadside repair, so and towing to the nearest place. So even if I'm, 500 miles out in the desert, I can still get the bus back to civilization and then just figure it out from there. Well, obviously, this is a deep subject, and we could go on for hours, talking about new versus old. But at the end of the day, new buses, anything newer is usually better, but there are trade-offs. And at the end of the day, if you're not a mechanic, then you better have a lot of money. And if you have a lot of money, why are you buying a school bus? Those are the questions I ask. Anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're interested. Hit the like button, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Thank you so much. No pain, no gain. We rise above the flames, through the fire, through the rain. We embrace the change. No pain, no gain. We conquer every chain. With the struggle comes a strength. We will never be the same. Looking back at the past, all the